Hey witches, welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of almost 25 years, Avalon priestess, and busy witch. Here we'll talk all things witchy, from current metaphysical happenings to my busy witch tips and tricks, and everything in the in-between. This podcast is my personal journey, filled with my knowledge, opinions, and unique way of looking at the world. Join me as I weave the magical and the mundane in every episode. Hey witches, welcome back to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy. I'm Morgan, and today I am talking about intuition, flow, and healing your witch wound. Now, if these sound like they are not connected, that is just not correct. They are actually connected, especially if you are, for example, feeling like you cannot trust your intuition, or when you have those intuitive bumps, you're like, no, I doubt them. If that's the way you're feeling, then there's probably also a correlation in there to where you find it hard to go with the flow in life. They definitely are connected because they all have to do with the element of water. And that's what I want to talk to you all about today. So the element of water helps with smooth energy flow, emotional regulation, healing, psychic abilities, intuition, and introspection. So that ability to dive down inside of yourself, or when something happens, the ability to look at it honestly and be like, okay, I see where I played a part in that. So for today's episode, I want to expand on how tapping into the element of water's energy can help you in all of these areas. And today's podcast episode is going to be an overview of the element of water, its role in these things. But then at the end, I'm going to do some magical helpers, things like herbs, gemstones, stuff like that for working with the element of water. But my goal here is not just working with the element of water overall. Specifically, I think that the areas of intuition, going with the flow in life, and healing your witch wound are things that are very specific to magical people. And if I can help you all out with that and help you learn how to work with the element of water for these things, then I think that it not only helps you become a more grounded and centered person, but your magic could explode, especially if you are trusting your intuition, okay? So I first want to start out with basically how I realized that all of these things were connected. And it actually, I can read about the elements all day long. Air is associated with knowledge, communication, things like that. The element of fire, creativity, passion, sexuality. You can read these things. So when you read that the element of water is associated with emotional regulation and intuition and introspection and healing, you're like, okay, I read it. But sometimes it takes something in your life to happening that really makes you understand how everything is related. Okay. And for me, I really put all of those puzzle pieces together when it came to the element of water because, someone is dumping very large amounts of stuff in the dumpster, and I was not sure if that picked up on the microphone or not. Okay, so we first moved to England in 2002. My husband is in the military, and he got orders to England. So we moved there in 2002. And England, the climate there is just rainy. It's like half of the year has rainy days. And pretty much the other half of the year has cloudy days, which, rain adjacent. So this is when my psychic abilities really, truly started to blow up. It was crazy. Okay. I was a psychic medium sometimes. And the reason I was like, is sometimes telling people these things, I get that look like, oh, okay. But I'm learning right now to be like, fuck that and tell my story because it is my truth. And I think I've told you all in the past, especially in the My Psychic Journey episode. I know I shared this. So I was pretty much a psychic medium when I lived in England. I had like clairvoyance, but I could see dead people. That was the biggest thing. And that was like the biggest shock, honestly, is when I started diving down into my spirituality and I started diving down into paganism and witchcraft. That was like the first doorway that super opened for me, was the ability to see ghosts. And it had its ups and downs. I know that I've told the stories here on the podcast. You have to go back. You have to go to like Spooky Stories Part 1, Spooky Stories Part 2. I don't know which ones it is, but one of them tells a lot about the shit that I saw in England. But yeah, so I basically was a psychic medium. Now, I was very young, and we were only in England for like 3 years. And so I didn't really know how to control things. I didn't know how to deal with things, but I just knew it was there. So here we have, we're living in a wet climate where it rains all the time, and my psychic abilities are just like bam, 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 just open. So then my husband got stationed in South Carolina in 2005. And in South Carolina is where I opened my brick and mortar store. Okay, so I had a witchcraft shop. And at first, I wasn't doing any type of psychic readings or anything like that, because as we moved to South Carolina, my abilities shifted. I went from seeing ghosts or dead people to hearing them. So my clairaudience went nuts. Okay, and if you think about South Carolina, we were about an hour from the beach, from the coast. That's it. So the town that we lived in, super humid, had a shit ton of rainy days, all of that good stuff. So still a very wet climate. So I basically just every day was surrounded by water. And this is when I actually got bored in my shop during the day, and I taught myself how to read tarot, and I could see auras. I read a whole book on how to read auras and really tapped in and opened myself to that. So I started doing aura readings. I started doing tarot readings. I had the clairvoyance still. So basically I just used tarot to tap into greater messages. I had a spirit guide that talked to me all the time. So that was part of the clairaudience. So yeah, that was probably when I was most open, as far as like open in several different ways psychically. So high humidity, an hour from the coast, again, surrounded by water. So in 2012, moved to Arizona, and it all stopped. All of it. Now, I do tell the story in my psychic journey where at some point when we lived in South Carolina, I did turn it off. Okay. It was too overwhelming. I could not handle it. So I did turn off. I turned my back on my psychic abilities. I completely closed off my energy. I completely closed myself off to it. So when I moved to Arizona, I was not working at the time. So I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I really felt disconnected from my practice. So as I started diving back down into my spiritual practice, I started being like, okay, now I'm a little bit older. I know how to handle things. So I'm open again. Hello. And the powers that be were like, nah, you closed yourself off. We're not going to give it to you. And I'm like, okay, but what about just little things? So here in Arizona, even now that it's been years, because that was 2012. So we're talking like 12 years later. My intuitive bumps are way different. Sometimes I have dreams but basically it's just like intuitive nudges, and I follow them. I trust them. And so that's where I'm at now, but it's still nowhere near compared to where I was before. Now, when we have done things like traveled to Sedona, oh my gosh. So we went to Sedona one time, which is about a 4-hour trip from Tucson, but it's north. So there are seasons, and there's rain, and there's humidity. But there was one time we rented this cabin for about a week, and it was right on a river, or like a little creek. I went back to, like, I could hear things again. It was just crazy. For that week, I almost thought I was going crazy until I realized that's like kind of when the connection really started to be made. I was like, oh my God, this house is right here on a creek, running water, and all of a sudden my psychic abilities are like crazy again. So that's when I really started to make the connection. And when I really started to make the connection, things started to make sense. For example, I talk a lot, or I have talked a lot on past podcast episodes about like, I didn't know what I was going to talk about today. So I took my shower and all of a sudden I had this idea. That's my place. If I want to commune with spirit, almost like that's pretty much what it is. But if I want to open myself to downloads, messages, intuitive hits, whatever, yeah, I could sit there and meditate and do it. Or I just go get in the shower or a hot tub. And sitting in that water, sitting in the shower and just letting the water hit me, and I open myself back up the way that I used to, and that's it. Downloads come in, and sometimes they're for me, sometimes they're for friends, sometimes they're about world events, and that is my connection. So now I purposefully use the element of water to tap into my psychic or intuitive abilities. And it's something I've been doing for years now. And that solidified it for me. That at least, well, I mean, I say at least for me, the element of water is my tapping into my intuition, but really it's everyone. It is the element of water. And I don't think a lot of people understand that or have made that connection. So that is why I am so happy to be talking about it, because I think that if you do start to work with the element of water, all of these other things are attached to it. So as a witch, your psychic abilities will start to open up. Your intuition will start to open up, but it goes into other areas as well, okay? The element of water flows, okay? Water flows. So when you are thinking of the correlations in life, okay, water flows. What else in life flows, okay? Magic, spirituality flows. That is something where you will have ebbs and flows. You will have days where you are super intuitive and you want to work with the moon, which also, moon is associated with the element of water as well as the divine feminine. So there are days you are feeling super witchy. Maybe it's a full moon. Maybe you're like super powerful. But then as the new moon comes, you find your energy ebbing. Or for some people, it's backwards. They get to the full moon and they are so drained that they're so tired. But as the new moon comes, they find their energy comes back. Okay. And or it could be the other way. Like I was born under a full moon. So when the full moon comes, I am like high energy, especially if I was born under a Leo moon, which is I was born at the Leo full moon. Leo is a fire sign. So if when the full moon comes and they're under fire signs, I am like super productive. I barely sleep. I don't need to sleep. I am just high energy the entire, like 3 days before the full moon, the day of, and 3 days after. Okay. Again, ebbs and flows. Okay. Other things that flow, emotions highly flow, especially if you are a woman and you're understanding our emotions flow like crazy sometimes. Energy flows. Healing is also a fluid movement. You know, you're not just one day healed, bam, done, I'm good. It is a process. It is a fluid movement, okay? And some days in a healing journey, you're going to have great days and you're going to feel like yourself and you're going to feel like I can really put that behind me. And then other days, that wound is going to be ripped open and it's going to heavily affect you and your emotions. Emotions flow, all of it. Another thing that flows, but I'm going to put a little caveat here, is money. Money flows, okay? Now, money is generally associated with the element of earth. But here's the fun part. If you are wanting to draw money into you or have a flow of money into you, Use the element of earth in your spells and incorporate the element of water, and I bet you will start to see some movement in that flow of money towards you. Okay? So if the element of water flows, these are also things in life that flow, and that is how you can use the element of water to help tap into these energies, or to help these energies flow a little bit more smoothly in your life. Okay? So if you are looking to do things like find your flow in life, if you feel a little lost, if you feel like your path is just going in circles and you're running mundane shit day to day to day to day, then you can tap into the element of water to help get out of that rut, to help get out of that mundanity, to help you find your flow and move your path forward. If you're looking to be more in tune or in control of your emotions, the element of water can help with that. Trust your intuition more. That is a huge one. Develop your psychic abilities, another big one. Heal past trauma, including your witch wound. And Astrid Coyote and I talked a few episodes back on the podcast about the witch wound. I absolutely love her. She is an amazing person who she really dives down into the witch wound. She has a membership, like a monthly membership that dives down into it, especially if you're like a business owner. But that podcast episode really helped a lot with me. And I downloaded her workbook as well. And that has really helped me come a far way when it comes to healing your witch wound and understanding the witch wound and what it is. So if you have no idea what a witch wound is, I highly recommend that you go back and listen to that episode with Astrid Coyote and myself. And then tapping into the energy flow around you. So that is one of the biggest things that I teach, especially in the coven, is tapping into the flow around you. So there's always energy flowing around you. There's always magic flowing around you, okay? And as a witch, what we do is we use our methods, our practices, all of that to tap into that magical energy flow or that energetic flow around you, and to harness it and then direct it towards what you want to manifest or your intention. And that is the definition of magic. It is taking and manipulating energy for your will. Okay. So a lot of people have that misunderstanding that, oh, well, I'm going to create the energy for my spell and I'm going to create it. That's not technically what you do. Technically, what you do is you ground yourself down into the earth, and then you are tapping into the energy flow that's already going around you. And yeah, that way you don't drain yourself of your energy. That way it's like a bigger pool. Like, yeah, you can raise your own energy. You 100% can. So let me just take a step back on that one. Okay. You 100% can raise your own energy to direct it. Okay. You can. Now, what's going to be more powerful? All right. If you're sitting there filling up a little cup of water, or if there's a lake sitting right next to you and you just take your cup and stick it into the lake and fill your cup with water. They're both a cup full of water. All right. One of them you're doing yourself, like maybe you're sitting there under a faucet or something, and the other one is a huge thing of water and you just go fill your cup. That's how you have to start looking at magic. That's how powerful magic occurs, okay? Is instead of thinking, okay, I have to build this energy, if you understand that energy and magic is always moving around you and then you just tap into it, you are tapping into a much bigger source of energy. So do you see where that kind of goes into it too? Yeah. So these are all of the ways that working with water can help you. But these are all of the ways, and this is why I think the element of water is extremely powerful, extremely transformational. I mean, once you tap into that energy flow around you, and you understand that your power is infinite because you have the ability to tap into infinite amounts of energy and power around you. You're not always using your own energy. You're tapping into a bigger source. You're releasing it at the end so you're not drained. Like, these are all things that working with the element of water can help with, but also learning how to correctly work with the element of water to tap into energy flow around you. That's where that comes in super important. That's where it's super important. So these are all things that have to do with the element of water and how the element of water can help you, especially with your magic and your sanity, because it does help you with regulating emotions. It can help you, of course, with your intuition, trusting those intuitive bumps, all of this. And this is why the element of water is so important. Okay. So what are some just easy magical ways to begin working with the element of water? The first one is be in water. That's a very easy one. Be in water. So ritual baths, showers, pools, the ocean, a river, lake, whatever. Shower, because then it's running and it's flowing over you. So you have that movement of energy and that movement of flow. Drinking water also is very important. Very important. Your body is, what is it? Something like 80% water. I'm a nerd, but I don't have that one committed to memory. I think it's like 80% water. So you drinking water helps keep your body hydrated and will help keep your psychic energy and your flow energy open as well. You can use water-aligned gemstones such as aquamarine, larimar, moonstone, opal, sodalite, and ocean jasper, or seashells. Work with seashells. Very easy way to help incorporate water energy. You can wear or work with the colors blue, aqua, and blue-green, which aqua kind of is blue-green, but it's like a lighter. I'm not going to get into it. I used to be a tattoo artist, so like I know the difference between like, you know, light blue, aqua, turquoise, teal. Like I know the difference between all of those. But if you ask my husband, like which one's blue, he's like, they're all blue. I'm like, gotcha. Herbs, aloe, chamomile, gardenia, geranium, ivy, jasmine, any kind of mint, lotus, vanilla, and lily are all herbs, essential oils, scents you can work with to tap into the element of water. In fact, I'm going to share a fun fact with you. Most like ocean breeze type candles are generally a blend of jasmine and lily, or jasmine and lotus. Sometimes have a hint of chamomile thrown in. But if you love like a good ocean breeze, just generic candle from the Dollar Tree or Walmart or wherever, chances are it's the notes are actually jasmine and lily, maybe a touch of gardenia thrown in, or chamomile. But yeah. And then working with magical waters and oils. Oil is also like an offshoot of water, or it has the same energies. So using things like mists, or using herbs in a bath, you know, like taking a ritual bath, using things like Florida water, or mixing your own oils, ritual oils, spell oils, or just oils to wear every day, or spraying body mist on yourself. I mean, anything like this is going to help you work with the element of water. So today was an overview with some water helpers, some magical water helpers added in. But if you want to really deep dive into the water element and how it can help you, this is what we're doing in the Inked Spirit Coven for the autumn. So the seasons, different seasons resonate with different elements as well. So even if you want to start your own journey diving into the element of water yourself, the fall is aligned with the element of water. Okay, so starting this fall, starting in September in the Inked Spirit Coven, that's what we're going to be doing. Because remember, we're taking the whole year, the Rewilding Your Inner Witch. And we started with the element of air in the spring. And then we just got done with the element of fire in the summer. And now we're moving into the element of water. Now, it does not matter if you join now, because you will have access to all of the stuff that we've done for the last 2 seasons. But you can move forward with us for the element of water for the fall, and then earth. That's the last one we'll be working with in winter. So I'm going to be diving down into all of this. Okay, I'm going to be diving down into finding your flow, tapping into your intuition. And let me tell you, finding your flow is also going to touch on what I was talking about earlier about tapping into the flow of energy around you and how to use that for magic rather than building your own energy up, so that you are tapping into a bigger pool of energy and you're not draining yourself. So that first month, which is September, that's going to be the finding your flow, but we're going to talk about that as well as learning to trust your intuition. To me, that's all like together, so it's all one lesson. We're also I'm going to be teaching everyone how to blend oils. Yes, exactly like I do that I sell in the shop. I'm going to be teaching people my method. And then we're going to be going into healing the witch wound in October, which is going to include a guided meditation written by me that we can all do to help heal our witch wound. And then for November, we're going to be moving into magical waters and ritual baths. And that's going to be the class as well as the workshop, so that we can really kind of get hands-on with different types of magical waters, how to use them. But then people during the workshop will be able to blend their own ritual baths, blend their own magical waters, all that kind of good stuff. So that's going to be September, October, and November in the Inked Spirit Coven. So I would love to have you join us. If you would like to learn more and join, then you can head to inkedspirit.com. And if you want to use the coupon code podcast5, and that's the number 5, all one word, that'll give you $5 off your first month with us. But we've had a lot of people join. They've been listening to the podcast for a while, and they're signing up for a whole year, which I think is amazing. You get if you do sign up for a whole year of the Inked Spirit Coven, then of course you'll be journeying half the year for the rest of the 2 elements with us, and then whatever is coming next year, which I'm sure will be super fun, because I plan all of it, and I plan super fun shit. Because if you're not a witch and you're not having fun, or if you're a witch but you're not having fun, then what's the point, right? But if you sign up for a whole year, I have a little swag pack that I send you. So it has a little cauldron and a herb blend and a crystal and a sticker and a little pen, like PIN, of the Inked Spirit Coven. So yeah, you get sent that for free if you sign up for a whole year. If you want to try the month, then use podcast 5 to get $5 off your first month. And that's at inkedspirit.com. So I want to thank you all for joining me and for listening and for giving me a platform to share my knowledge. And yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of fun coming up. I mean, we always have fun. I know I keep saying that word, but I think we all need a little bit of fun right now. If you're in the reality that we are in right now with everything going on in the world, I think having a group of witches around you to support you and to support them, but also learn really fun witchy shit and just have a good time and learn magical things, no matter if you're a beginner witch up to a seasoned witch. It's so important right now, and that's something I'm really trying to do in the coven, is make sure that people are having fun, because I think it's really needed right now. So, but yeah, thank you for being here on the podcast and for listening. I love doing this as well. So I will see you all again next week. Bye.